Micah Frankel for CageMinds.com. I'm over at the ESPN Radio Albuquerque 1017, the team studios. Wanted to bring you guys a little bit of a recap from yesterday's huge BKFC State of the Promotion Champion Summit press conference recap for you guys. A bunch of news was made on the evening. Got a shout out before we get started. Barber Gabe's fades, hooking us up with the haircut, always keeping it tight. And our friends over at W for helping us keep the energy up. It's 10% off with the checkout code Cage Minds. Huge announcement made, possibly the biggest one, is the $25 million tournament from BKFC, going to be starting March of 2026 in Los Angeles, expected to go all the way to March of 2027, ending somewhere in the Middle East. You could say Abu Dhabi, Dubai, somewhere in that area. $15 million to the winner. You get $1 million at second place. Your third and fourth places are at $500,000 to be in that top 8, $300,000, $200,000 in the top 16, $100,000 if you're in that top 32. And in all, they're going to have 64 participants. So those other 32 that are considered alternates getting $50,000. Biggest, baddest bare knuckle tournament possible, coming from BKFC and taking place between 265 pounds and 185 pounds. So you're considering the BKFC light heavyweights, cruiserweights, and heavyweights. Big Ben Rothwell obviously wanting to be a part of that field. They had him with a face-off at the press conference with Andrei Arlovsky. We know that Leonardo Perdomo is fighting this weekend, probably the rightful number one contender. We also have Agi Faulkner, the BKFC UK European heavyweight champion. Where does he fit into in all of this? Adding to the intrigue is the signing of a bunch of free agents and MMA veterans most of you will recognize that could potentially be a part of this tournament, could potentially be challengers for Josh Dyer or Chris Camozzi. You get the announcements that former UFC title challengers Yoel Romero, who's been making waves in the Dirty Boxing promotion owned by Mike Perry, and former light heavyweight title challenger Thiago Santos. Also joining is Derek Brunson. They're all now in BKFC. So that's huge, as they're all 185 pound, 205 pound fighters from their MMA days. That would be right in line with the tournaments and giving some of these champions huge fights. Not to mention on the boxing side, there were a couple names added. Jamel Herring coming over, former 140-pound boxing champion, I believe, and not to mention two-time super middleweight champion James DeGaulle, who is actually already set for his debut September 27th in Manchester. Those are huge additions to the promotion. We also had announcements on the women's side for new signings, including UFC vet Aspen Ladd and 3-0 in BKB Josette Cotton. Where could this be lining up for the women's 145-pound champion Jessica Borga, who now at the press conference looked to affirm that she is willing to go down to 135 pounds for a super fight with BKFC women's flyweight champion Christine Faria, who will be moving up 10 pounds in that scenario. So we got a huge deal for the women's division. We have the huge tournament for the men in the heavyweights. We also had talk that a baddest bitch on the planet tournament could be in the works from BKFC in 2027, giving a massive payday to the female fighters, because not much was announced for what could be next for Britain Hart, our reigning undisputed women's strawweight champion in BKFC. Now, the tournaments don't just stop with that open weight heavyweight open weight tournament, we also have tournaments coming up because we knew of one in the lightweight division. Franco Tenaglia had been stripped after fighting outside of his contract. Ben Bonner claiming the interim lightweight crown over Tony Soto. Those two are going to dance. And the winner will advance to meet the winner of an incredible rematch that's been set, as Luis Palomino and current undisputed welterweight champion Austin No Doubt Trout will run it back 10 pounds south from where they inaugurally fought at 165 when Trout dethroned Palomino of the welterweight title. Now Palomino, who voluntarily had vacated the lightweight title ahead of that welterweight title fight, has an opportunity to regain his belt. Palomino coming off of winning the Florida super fight with Howard Davis, claiming the King of the Streets title. This has huge implications on the welterweight division because his Trout is now in the midst of this lightweight tournament that, let's be honest, he beats Palomino, could be sticking there a while longer to get the winner of Bonner Tenaglia. We are now know that the Julian Lane Gogo Slaveski main event that headlines the BKFC Sturgis 2 card is for an interim welterweight title, and I wouldn't be surprised if the winner has to defend the title at least one time before they're looking at a unification bout, if Trout's able to get, like we said, to the finals of the 4-man tournament at lightweight. So huge circumstances considering the lightweight division and the welterweight division just in that one tournament announcement, not to mention also the announcement there will be a 4-man tournament to crown a new bantamweight champion after Alberto Blas parted ways with the company. He's now with BKB. No names yet announced for that tournament, but you could speculate Bekzad Usmanov, Brian Reber, Justin Ibarola, or even Roberto Armas, as those two are going to be fighting on Saturday. The winner there could be involved in the tournament. Also thinking about, there's tons of other guys in the division. I believe that Rambo Russo is also fighting here on the 12th. So it'll be interesting to see which 4 fighters are picked for that bantamweight tournament. But tournaments aplenty coming from BKFC, huge money. Not to mention the groundbreaking announcement from Conor McGregor and Dave Feldman that there is going to be a equity program for the fighters to get equity in what they've done with BKFC. Possible earnings up to $3 million outlined. So huge to look forward to see how that helps grow the company and the response that the fighters have to it once they're able to go through the paperwork. BKFC also, with one more bit of big news, they are now the majority owning partner in Lithway. For those of you that don't know or haven't heard of Lithway, it's the #1 promotion in Myanmar in bare knuckle Muay Thai. Bare knuckle Muay Thai, Lithway, the national sport of Myanmar. That is something huge globally. Not sure how much people in the United States will recognize that deal. It'll be interesting to see how that acquisition of Lithway moves forward the promotion, especially with what BKFC was doing in Thailand. We hadn't seen a BKFC Thailand event in a while since they did the mega one. But that, I think, was due to, in Thailand, you're looking to do Thai boxing. So now if you have bare knuckle Muay Thai, maybe that fits more into the game plan of BKFC. Or quite possibly, maybe this is just another entity to have under the umbrella, like we saw with the acquisition of Ice Wars. Tons going on in BKFC from these announcements from this press conference. A lot of it also implied huge things coming for the UK European champions. Gary Fox in particular was able to face off with Kai Stewart. Kai Stewart himself didn't look the most happy with that decision. I think that Kai was hoping that he would be one of the 4 participants in the lightweight tournament, thinking that he had cleared out the 145-pound division. I don't know if I fully agree with that. You have Nathan Rivera, you have Edgar Palazzola. I think there's still a couple challengers left at 145. I'm a little surprised to see BKFC going with Gary Fox, but it is nice to see them repaying these UK European champions, giving them the big opportunities. It's Carl Thompson, who was looking for Chris Camozzi. Chris Camozzi, the one champion who is not in attendance, his UK cruiserweight counterpart, calling out for that fight. It's going to be interesting to see what happens and shakes out between 185 and 265 pounds with the implication of the tournaments. $25 million tournaments, but what happens with the heavyweight title, the cruiserweight title, the light heavyweight title? What do the UK European champions get to do, want to do? Looks like we're in store for a very intriguing next year and a half from BKFC.